And I haven't heard anybody say this. I can't believe that nobody has said this from what I've seen. Everybody so far seems to just be eating up this dog pile and just wanting to throw all this shit on Sven Vincke, and I think it's ridiculous.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Sven Vincke, the CEO of the company, did an interview with Bloomberg, and he mentioned that they were pushing generative AI and said that they're using it to explore ideas, flesh out PowerPoint presentations, develop concept art, and write placeholder text. People lost their minds over this. He later, in the same interview, also said, everything is human actors. We're writing everything ourselves, just using this to explore other ideas. On Blue Sky, Larian is being lambasted. And I think that tells you everything you need to know. Is a bunch of people on Blue Sky. We have stuff that say disappointed in Larian using generative AI during development. You got all these people talking about all this stuff, and this user says, just like you are not a real musician if you use AI to produce music, you are not a real artist if you use AI to produce art.
Which is exactly what he said they weren't doing. I feel like the problem is everybody's so negative and paranoid and looking for a story that they don't believe him when he says we're just using it for PowerPoint presentations and placeholder stuff.
So basically they're saying, so because he did mention concept art, and so they're saying, well, you're stealing work from concept artists. You know, if you're using it you're stealing work from concept artists, and that, you know, people are saying, well, it's going to be generic because we all have this thing like if you're just generating your concept art from AI, and that even if you then go on and you do something with it later, you're still getting your ideas from AI and this and that, and they're just going on and on and on, and they're missing the point. I'm going to talk about something after we read Sven Vincke's comments and responses to this, and kind of say like why people are missing the point. And I haven't heard anybody say this. I can't believe that nobody has said this from what I've seen. Everybody so far seems to just be eating up this dog pile and just wanting to throw all this shit on Sven Vincke. And I think it's ridiculous. Sven Vincke replied twice. He sent a response to IGN, which they posted, and then he responded on Twitter. So his response on IGN is thus: we've been continuously increasing our pool of concept artists, writers, and storytellers, are actively putting together writer rooms, casting and recording performances from artists, and hiring translators. Since concept art is being called out explicitly, we have 23 concept artists and have job openings for more. Any ML tool used well is additive to a creative team or individual's workflow, not a replacement for their skill or craft. We are neither releasing a game with any AI components, nor are we looking at trimming down teams to replace them with AI. While I understand it's a subject that invokes a lot of emotion, it's something we are constantly discussing internally through the lens of making everyone's workday better, not worse. He then followed up with a response on Twitter, and people are dogpiling on this one as well. This is not a Randy level tweet. Randy Pitchford, we love our Randy Pitchford and some of his ill-advised tweets. I don't think this is this. I think this is just him showing his passion here and his astonishment at this response that he's getting. He says, holy fuck, guys, we're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. I didn't say we use it to develop concept art. The artists do that. And they are indeed world-class artists. We use AI tools to explore references, just like we use Google and art books. We've hired creatives for their talent, not for their ability to do what a machine suggests, but they can experiment with these tools to make their lives easier. So that was his response. And again, he's been getting hammered for this, especially with leading off with holy fuck. This is the thing that I wanted to add that I was shocked that nobody is bringing up. If you're an artist, and so especially a concept artist, and you are creating these things, the key word here is concept. You are at the very ground level of forming the art style of a game or for characters or for whatever. So whenever there's concept art, there's a lot of change. Nothing is concrete. So you have let's say you have a creature. And so you have this creature, you've modeled it, you've drawn it, you have this concept art, and then you show it to whomever it is that needs to approve it, and they say, okay, I see what you did there, but can you make it with hair and give it 6 legs instead? And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get on that. So now you got to put hair on it, you got to make more legs, this is going to take hours of work for you to hand it back to somebody and then be like, yeah, what if we put a pirate hat on it? And gave it a buster sword, you know, and so you got to go back. All this takes time. So what you can use this for as a concept artist without interfering with the integrity of the art of this game or whatever is basically say like, okay, this is what we want, maybe draw an example of it, and then generate variations of it. Give me this with hair, give me that same thing with snake scales, give it with 6 legs, give it with 3 legs, all these different things, and you can have them all laid out, and then whoever needs to make the call can say, I like that one, and that one. And then once you use these as quick mock-ups of like, hey, does this hit the way that you want it to hit? And then once you settle on it, then the artist can go in and actually create it. That way they don't spend 16, 20 hours working on different variations of this same thing, because you were able to sort of get this Gen AI mock-up based off of what you did to quickly eliminate the things that were not going to be approved to work on it from there. So that's the thing. As an artist, that is how you can use this generative AI like they are using to quickly improve your day-to-day and not replace artists and just use it as a tool and not an employee.
You had referenced the comment earlier about somebody saying, hey, if you get your concept art ideas from AI, then, that's cheating or whatever the statement was that was made. But my thing is this, man, whatever your muse is for art, that's your muse. It doesn't matter if AI came up with it. You can have AI say, hey, draw me a picture of a horse riding around a water fountain. And if you come up with some fantastic piece of art based on what that AI was, then that is, I don't know if you agree with me on that, but no, I don't think there's any problem with using AI to come up with art.
No, I wouldn't want it to be used exclusively, but that's not what they're doing. They're using it, like I said, at the ideation stage. So you're like, hey, man, okay. So if somebody says, hey, we need this swamp monster, and you think like, okay, what would be cool for a swamp monster? So maybe if we had some sort of like amalgamation of different, like, let's say we have like an alligator, and then maybe if we made, brought some of these other aspects into it. And so you just put this prompt in there and just kind of like see what AI comes out with, to see to see what the creature might look like, to be like, yeah, never mind, that doesn't look good. Let's throw that idea away. Let me do something else. Now let's go with a snake. And it's a thing where it can just kind of help you quickly put these ideas up there for yourself, right, or for somebody that needs to approve it, so that you don't waste your time crafting these other things that are going to get dismissed. So it allows you to
also, from a morale standpoint, you're not always having to bust people's chops. If they know what the mission is right from the go, you're not always having to come in and go, nope, that's not what I'm asking for. You guys missed the whole mark.
Yeah, and so Sven went into this whole thing, and he mentioned about how they will put in, they'll have it generate placeholder text. So while people are actually actively writing, they'll just have some placeholder text there for other things and other people to be able to work with as well. So that it's like, it's not going to be final, but instead of like having the gibberish writing as a placeholder, at least it's something that is related to what it is that you're working on in that given scene.
Right.
So, but he said that there will be nothing that is AI generated that will be in the finished version of the game. Everything there is simply to make everybody more effective and help production along. This is wholly different from people or companies that are like Crafton that seem to be leaning towards using AI to push their game out. This is not the same thing. This is not Xbox firing a bunch of people after those same people trained AI models. This is not that. It just blew my mind that people made such a big fuss about this whole thing whenever he explicitly said what it was used for. Everybody was jumping in defense of these poor artists that were being wronged by AI, which if they were artists themselves, they would know how AI could greatly help an artist in that situation. Because you could spend easily half of a work week just trying to come up with multiple versions of this thing or make changes or whatever. And it's they're getting away with that. So now they can just generate it, say like, okay, yes, no, that is what I want. Go in this direction with it. And then that artist knows what to do, and they don't have to waste time on 4 different other versions or variations or whatever. Because again, you have to do this with everything that shows up in that game. Main characters, background characters, animals, buildings, so many things. I do not have any issue with what Larian is doing here.
Well, and I think people need to come to grips with the fact that regardless, it's coming. AI is going to be used more and more for things. And while I'm not a fan of AI, I am a fan of, hey, man, it's too late. We're not stopping this train. So from that standpoint, move forward. If Larian turns out a shit game, which we know they won't.
Yeah.
The best phrase I heard this week was from Renfail when he's like, this year, this time, they have big boy money to do Divinity as opposed to being Kickstarter campaigns. I think no matter what they do, at the end of the day, I would just look at all the people throwing stones and go, what game did you make? Tell me what game you're making right now. Then shut up.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that were saying like, well, AI is not inevitable. Like it is. I mean, how can you? That's like saying that we don't need to use cell phones. Cell phones are not inevitable. Let's just do with that. Like it's here. I mean, it's going to be a massive part of everybody's day to day, their productivity. It's just what it is. I mean, you cannot get away from it. Jay and I had previously talked about ways that we could see AI being utilized that we would be okay with. This is one of those things. We talked about like something like Death Stranding, where you have these vast areas where most of that area is not actually important to the story. Like you're not having like an event that, a key event take place on that stuff. Like it's just area to walk. Well, if AI could just generate something, just grass and stuff, and just put it there so that you don't have somebody meticulously placing rocks and water and all this to just fill it up. So this is it's a productivity tool. I'm fine with the way they're using it. If you want somebody that's going to be incredibly biased and give Larian no benefit of the doubt, like I believe they have earned, if you want to see somebody doing that, go watch Young Yaz's video on it. But here, I'm with Sven on this. I think what they're doing is completely fine. I'm okay with it, and I have no problem with buying their next game at all.
And I got to tell you, and this is probably a whole separate episode, as an anti-fast traveler, would it have bothered me if AI had generated the terrain in between the towns on The Witcher 3? Probably not, because a lot of them looked exactly the same, and it wouldn't have mattered if you're talking about copy and placing terrain plates to match on a trail or whatever. So, yeah, no problem there.
I must bid you adieu.